Working. So in this session, we're going to do something different. Okay, not different in a sense, like we're still going to be live coding an app. But in the previous live section, like sessions, I was working with PHP to make an app, and we were making a blog. That was like the main focus of the live coding sessions. In these new sessions, I'm going to be working with Adonis. Adonis is a Laravel-like framework, but it is trying to use the same structure paradigms and way to make a web app like Laravel, but in the JavaScript world. So Laravel it's for PHP. I really like that framework, but we decided to change the way that we are working, developing new web apps to Adonis because we were working on AI SDKs, like for example the SDK for OpenAI and for Gemini and other frameworks or packages available to work with AI APIs. And what I was noticing is that they weren't a lot for PHP. Like you needed to work or make them from scratch, each thing that you needed to do. And the other thing is that we were, for example, if we wanted to add AI capabilities to any of our apps, we were making the web app using Laravel, but then we were also working on a service that was hosted in our server for doing everything related to AI. So, for example, if we needed to use Gemini, well, we were making the web app, and then we had the AI service as another service inside our server, and the app connected to the service via like inside the same server. But if you analyze it, it's a lot of extra work just to have AI capabilities in a web app. So maybe that's not the only way to add AI capabilities to your PHP app, but that was the way that we were working, and that we found that we could add in the way that it was the way that we could add AI capabilities. So now, that's why we decided to move to Adonis to use JavaScript, because there were more SDKs for JavaScript. There's a lot of packages. Adonis also uses TypeScript. It runs in Node.js in the server for the to run the web app. So that is what I'm going to be working on right now. I'm going to be using Adonis, so that it's not Laravel, it's not PHP, and maybe and I want to and I'm going to be mentioning during the session the differences between Laravel and Adonis, and how to do which one I think it's the best way to work on, like in each case that we are working on. To be honest, I'm more comfortable working with Laravel because I have been working with Laravel for longer. Adonis is still quite new for me. We are going to be following the same development structure like MVC, model view controller, but maybe there are things that I'm going to take longer to figure out in here, because JavaScript is a different it has a different develop paradigm to develop, like developing paradigm, and it works a little bit way different than PHP. So enough for just the intro. So let's start working on this web app. So the web app that I have in here, it's actually is this one. So it's already developed. Like, we have been working a lot of time in this web app, and maybe you have seen it in my previous develop live coding sessions, because it's the one that I'm using for when I was working in Agents Tower blog. And and it's the one that it's in AI agents for youtube.com. So this is the current version that it's live, that it's in the production server, and this is the new version that is still not live. Okay, so as you can see, now we have a landing page, a home. There's and before you just went right inside the application, right? Okay, so now we're going to be working on I want to add, this is going to be a shorter session than the previous ones. We're going to be working on some pretty basic things, a component, a layout, and let's see if we can get more things done. But the first, okay, so the two things that I want to do right now, it's to add components, a component to this web app. So what is a component? So if I go to the app, we have a components folder inside the views folder, inside the resources folder. So we have views, components, and inside components we have layout, and we also have other folders to have a better to have them more organized. And outside of components we have other views, for example partials, pages, specific pages that that you can work on. I'm going to delete these ones, they are no longer necessary. And this is home, and this is landing page, and this is the home. Okay, so okay, so let's start working on first in the components. I want to add Google Analytics component to this web app so that I can see how we can work, like how many visitors the app is getting, because I want to have a baseline for when we launch in Product Hunt and in other launch directories. So I want to have a baseline to know how much these directories help us increase our visitors. So that's why I want to add the Google Analytics component right now. So I'm going to go to the folder, to the components folder, and we're going to go to, okay, so we have elements in here. And as you can see, I'm using a font family component. So for example, if I want to change the font family in all of the pages, I can just change it in here. Well, I can add the fonts from Google fonts in here, and it's going to be added to all of the layouts. So for example, we have layout in here, and in here I'm using so it should have so where's the font? So yes, I'm including the font family component. Okay? So now I want to create a new element in here that it's going to be called Google Analytics .h, and it's going to be a component where I can add the Google Analytics code and then add this component to all of the layouts, so that I just need to update this code in case I need to change it in the future. So maybe I can change it from just Google Analytics to something more general, because I'm not 100% convinced I'm using Google Analytics. There are things that I don't like. So maybe in the future, we change the analytics provider. So I'm going to, instead of using G Analytics as the name, I can change it to, for example, web/analytics, or maybe traffic analytics, or or it can be visitor analytics, or maybe just web visitors. I'm going to leave it like web analytics, and in here I'm going to add the code that Google Analytics give us. So I'm going to go to Google Analytics. Just let me open it in here. So Okay, just a moment. So I'm opening Google Analytics in here. Okay. So just a moment. I'm opening Google Analytics. Okay. So okay. So if I go to start measuring, let's see, what is it telling me? Okay. So I'm going to create something like YouTube agents. So I didn't tell you, but this this service that I'm working on, it's to transcribe and summarize and create blog articles based on the on YouTube videos. So you just add the video and you can start creating blogs based on the information or content of that video. So that is why I'm calling it YouTube agents. Maybe in the future we should change the name because um, we can have problem using YouTube in our domain name with YouTube. But for the moment, I'm going to leave it like that. So I'm going to remove these things. So I'm going to click next. So now I'm going to add in here that same thing, YouTube agents. Next. So I'm just going to add in here something like so I can add something like arts and entertainment or jobs and education, internet and telecommunications. I'm going to use that one and then small. So in here, we want to generate leads, view user engagement and retention, and understand. So all of these ones. So let's accept the how do you say it? The terms and conditions. So I'm going to add a web. So in here, I'm going to add AI agents for YouTube. That's the domain, the current domain. But as I just told you, maybe I change it in the future. So it's going to be called YouTube agents. So now let's create and continue. So, okay. So no data received in the past 48 hours. I haven't added yet. So I'm going to copy this. Okay. So now if I go to here and I add it and I paste it, so this is the code. In a moment, I'm going to change this code and this ID to have it in the as an environment variable, but I'm just going to leave it as this to continue and start working on this. So now I want to add this component to my layouts. For example, the web layout. So in here, I'm going to add fonts, and before the sub fonts, I'm going to add okay. So I'm going to add include components, elements, web analytics. So this is different on how Laravel adds components. So in here we are using add include, and I think this is to be honest, I think it's better than how Laravel manages it, because PHP in Laravel uses something like for example, if this is called web analytics, and I add something like, if I want to add that component, you add something like x slash web analytics. So it's something like, so it is like this. It can be like this, or it can be you close it and then you have it like this. So this is it does the same. Okay, this is the same as this in this case. This case, the second one, allows you to add information inside this layout, these tags. And if someone doesn't know Laravel, or yes, or Blade, that is the template engine from Laravel, this can this can be a little bit strange to look at. And I understand that they are using the X as when you are using, for example, other front end frameworks. I think Vue, or I don't know if React or something like that, uses this type of convention or way to do it. And but you need to know a framework that uses this to know what is happening. And doing it in this way, I think it's more verbose. Like it gives you more information. It's easier to understand um, what it is doing. So you write more, but I think it's more intuitive what it's doing. So it's including a component called web analytics, and this is just another folder. So I'm going to add in here a comment, and it's going to be web analytics, and I'm going to close and web analytics and starts. Okay, something like this. So now if I go to my web app and I reload these, so let's see if it's adding these components. So I'm going to go to elements, and this should be in head, and in here we have web analytics starts. It so yes, it's adding it. So look how we have web analytics starts in here, and then we have web analytics ends in here. So between those two comments, we are seeing the Google Analytics script. So now if I change the component in just this, the content of the component in just this place, it's going to update it in the layout. Okay, so why am I doing it like this? Because I don't have just one layout. If I just had one layout, well, this will be like extra work. But since I'm I have another layout, and well, right now we have two layouts, but actually in this stream, in this live coding session, I'm going to add an additional I'm going to add another layout. That is the next thing that I'm going to do. So I want to not so yes, it's more work at the beginning, but in the future it's going to allow me to just change it in one place when I change it from Google Analytics to another provider or to another service. So now if I think that it should start getting information. I'm not going to test the installation because it's going to send me to AI agents. And right now this is just locally. So I'm going to click here, and let's see, it is still not receiving information. So I don't want to test it because it's just going to send me to this web page, and it's not in there. So I'm going to just I'm just going to leave it like that, like that, because I'm going to just trust. Yes. So now you can see that I have active users in here. That it's basically me. So let's close this, and we have that right now. So that's done. And if I go, just give me a moment. So Google Analytics, it's okay. Okay. So now um, I'm going to. So usually, what I do with this component is that I remove the ID from here, because if I'm developing in my local environment, I don't want to send that traffic to the how do you say, sorry, to Google Analytics, because it's going to modify the analytics. So what I do is I just place a placeholder in here to not have this ID, and then in the web app, in the production server, I have the correct value from here, and it just gets traffic from the production environment. So I'm going to do that right now. Just, we already saw that this is working because it's detecting the visitors, but I'm going to change this to have a placeholder in here to avoid these fake visits that are from me, okay, from my browser when I'm developing. So I need to open that environment file, and I'm not going to do that in here, so I need to move this in here, because, well, I have my API keys in there. So I'm going to add it. So I'm going to add it as web dash. What's the name of a dash? A dash that is at the bottom. So that's web analytics ID. So this is going to be between double quotes, and this is the ID. Okay, so I just copied the ID. So now in here, I need to change this to have the placeholder, sorry, the web analytics environment variable. So I'm going to go to, I don't know if I can just access this. So no, this is not the ID. So I need to use something like, okay, so in here is where I like to use the how do you say, the AI, Cursor's AI, in this case is GPT-4o, to ask some things about the documentation or available methods and services. So I'm going to ask, how do you add environment variables in an Edge file? So Edge, it's the template engine for Adonis. Okay. So it's telling me that I need to set the environment variables, and this is correct. This is how I have it right now. So then I need to import the. So this should be. So okay, so I need to go to, yes, sorry. So I need to go to start end.ts. So in here, I'm going to use I'm going to add it in here as the web analytics ID. Okay, so it's going to be getting this environment variable. So now I can use that in here. So how do I add it? Okay, so environment web analytics ID, environment web analytics ID. Okay, so if I save this and I reload the page, okay, so we are getting an error. So what's the error? Environment is not a function. Okay, so let's see how it's being done. So if I use, okay, so okay, so Stripe, let's see this one, how is it being used? So okay, so this is being used in a controller, in a listener environment dot get. So maybe it's I need to change this from this to environment dot get. Maybe. Okay, so for example dot get again. Let's see. So this is giving me an error. Let's see. Okay. Cannot read properties of undefined reading get. Okay. So how can I do this? Okay, so for example, in the controller, in this one, I am getting the environment key using this method. Yes, but this is in the back end. So since I think this is in the front end, and this is an edge template, this an edge file. There can be an issue with this. Maybe I don't have those methods available. So let's use the good old Google and do something like so it's going to be something like Adonis environment variable in H file, something like this. Okay, so okay. Okay, so I need to use the process.env object or the env class, which is okay. So let's see. So it's telling me that I can use env. Okay, so let's see. If I reload this. Okay, so it's telling me that I cannot do that. So I want to show you all of these things in case that you're also working on developing your app. How can you debug? And that's why I want to show you this. I don't have anything prepared for these sessions. Like I know what I want to do and I have an idea on how to do it. But when we have some errors, well, eventually you're going to get to errors. So we need to know how to debug them. So, and since this is a new framework for me, it's not like I don't have like on the top of my mind how are the errors debugged used when I'm working on JavaScript. So let's work on this. Okay. Okay, reading environment variables. So, okay, so I think I can do it like this. So let's see. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. So maybe let's do something like process.mv.web analytics. Let's see if this gives me an error. Okay, so now I don't know. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's add this in here as well. So let's see. So I think it's working. So let's see the code. And yes, I have the value in here. So this is going to give me, this is adding the environment variable to the front end. And well, just reading the docs, right? So this was something that the AI was trying to overcomplicate how to solve the issue, and that is a problem if you just rely on the AI to make the app and to help you in all of the bugs that you get. There are times that it tries to overcomplicate it, how to work on it, and maybe that's going to improve in the future. For sure, it's going to improve in the future, but it's not going to make you. It's going to. It can only help you to know how to debug correctly. Okay, so now I'm going to close this, and I'm going to. Um, I'm going to modify this value so that it stops adding. So, for example, if I go to analytics, we are going to see that there was a user like a minute or 2 minutes ago. 2 minutes ago, so it was me reloading this. So we can assume that this is working. So I'm going to just remove this. I'm going to change the ID, the environment variables file, just so we stop making those visits. So I need to move that from the screen, and I'm going to add placeholder, and I'm going to add this to the end.env from example to be sure to add it in the front end. Sorry, in the production server. So now this has the new placeholder, and if we look at the code, now in here I have placeholder in here and in here. So now it's not detecting the visits from my website, from my local environment, but I'm going to add the correct ID in the production environment to be sure to come the legitimate visits. Okay, so we can say that this is done. So now let's work on the layouts. So let's save this, and I'm going to save it as web analytics components commit, sorry. And let's work on the layouts. So now I have a web layout and an app layout. The web layout, it's this layout, like in the web page. For example, if we have a blog, it's going to use this web layout. If we have a pricing page, if we have a, I don't know, features page or some documentation, maybe it's going to use the main, that's that web layout. And then we have the app layout, that it's the one that it's used when you are inside the app. So for example, if I go to, if I log in, and I think I can use this user. Okay, so this is the app layout. So we have the logo as well, but we have a sidebar where we can create an article, we can make some instructions, you can see your history, your chat content history, like the previous articles that you have generated, and we can see the API key. This is the stored API key, and the logout button, as well as the create article form. Okay, so this is the app layout, but I want to have another layout that is for when someone is logging in. So for example, if someone clicks here in register, you can see that we have a form to make your account, but we also have these buttons over here, and we have this sidebar. So these buttons, this logo in here, and these buttons in here can make a person that is in here, a visitor, start clicking in places that are not going to help him or she to create her account. So that's why I want to have my own another layout that is going to be used so for when someone is creating an account or it's logging in. Yes, and it's basically, we're going to remove everything that it's like all of these elements around the form. So we're going to make another layout, and it's going to be called this is going to be called guest.edge. Okay. So now I'm going to copy everything from web. Just copy all of these, and let's go to guest. Let's paste it, and I'm going to start removing things in a moment. But so for example, if I go to the where is it, the out pages, for example, login in here. So I'm going to make pages out. Okay, so how is this? So we have components, emails, pages. Okay, in partials. Okay. So in pages we have out, content, and errors. I'm going to make another folder that is going to be called profile, because this out manage is actually should be from the profile folder. And register reset password, login new password. Okay. 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 Yes. So now if I go to guest, the guest layout, I'm just going to add something in here, just to make sure that it's getting this layout. So now if I go to this, it's not showing me this because I'm not using these layouts. So if I go to, so this is login, and if I go to the login page, I'm going to use layout guest. So okay, so yes, now it's using this layout. So I'm going to start making some changes. So I'm going to close web layout, app layout, and this. So now we have the guest layout. And just one thing, since I moved the manage component or the manage page from the out folder, I need to go to now I need to go to the folder here. I'm going to search for the something like out dot manage. So let's see, manage. I need to update this to, so for example, I need to maybe the web root. So let's say manage. Okay, because if not, it's going to give me an error. So that's manage. So roots. Okay, so slash manage. Yes, we have out manage. Now it's not out, it's profile. Okay, so I'm going to look in here, out slash manage. So in here, I need to render the profile manage page, because I changed it from the out folder to the profile page. So let's add that to the, let's commit it to our version control. So manage, so here and here, and I'm going to say commit it as the change manage file to profile folder. Okay, so committed, and Okay, so now if I go to, um, let's work on the guest layout. So now in the guest layout, I don't want to have these scripts because it's just going to add bloat to the app. So I'm also going to remove these. I'm also going to remove the partials header. We have the main slot, and I can leave the footer like this. So now if I reload this, this is, maybe I can also delete the footer. So let's see, where's the footer? Okay, so let's remove the footer. And so now we only have the sign into your account layout. So form, sorry. So now, for example, I can change this to be from this kind of icon to the logo that takes us back to the main page, or create an account. Okay, so we need to change that this form here as well, and also the forgot your password, we need to change it in there as well. So I'm going to go to the where is it? Out login.edge, and I'm going to change it in the new password edge. So, for example, I like this better in Adonis than in Laravel. Why? Because in Laravel, I needed to define the layouts in a folder that was in here in app and something like providers, or I don't remember the name of the folder. So it was an extra step to create a layout. In here, I just add the file to the layouts folder, and it's automatically detected as a new layout. And also, if I go to the bottom here, I'm just using end to end this layout. And in Laravel, it's a little bit different. So for example, if you create a layout or a component or a statement or a conditional, you usually, for example, if this was, I don't know, layout.up, usually in the end, this is not a real example, but just to exemplify what was going on with Laravel, this will be end layout. So for example, an if statement, an if conditional will be if, and then to close the conditional, it was going to be end if. Or I don't know, for each loop, the closing tag was going to be end for each. And in here with Edge, that is the template engine from Adonis, it's just end. So it has its pros and it has its cons. So for example, the pros is that you just close them with the same tag. But what I don't like about it is that you can get lost in which tag it's closing which tag, and because you don't know if this is an end for the layout or for another statement, and it can be confusing. I understand it, because so here we have if and if. So I'm going to check if this is, because I like this better. So maybe you can also use if. Okay. So for example, if we go to the documentation, so for example, Adonis Edge template, we're going to make some tests in here because there's some things to talk about it. Okay, so let's do this. So this is layout .guest. So for example, login, and let's see if this is working. So for example, if I go to Okay, so the password. So let's go to register, and let's do the test. We're going to do the test in here. So let's change this to guest, and let's reload this. Okay, so register. Okay, so now we have this template, this form. So let's do. So what else do we have in here? So we have if and if. Okay, so we have several ifs. So okay, if flash message has flash message. Okay, let's change this to, instead of using if, let's just use and. Let's see if it gives me an error. Okay. So and if. Okay, so it's not doing anything. So let's start. Okay, so let's start making some tests, because I'm having I'm being curious about how this actually works. So let's go to the controllers. Let's go to the authentication controller. So in here, I should go to the, for example, register method. So this is the register method, and in here, so let's see. Update password, update email. So let's go to the roots. So in here, let's go to register out controller. Okay, so it's show register. So let's go to the out controller. This is something that I also like from Adonis, and I'm going to work this way to add files to this file, the way to import them. It's different from Laravel, and I like this because I think it is an speed improvement. It's more efficient to do it in this way. I think we could do some tests as well. So let's look for this method. So it's show register. Okay, so it is rendered in this page. Okay, so in here, let's see if I can add. Let's add a comment, and it says, and let's say it, add a flash message. Add a flash message to all requests, like this. So no. So this is adding things that I don't want to. Okay, so let's add something like, for example, if we look for the method register, okay, so here's register. So session. Okay, so we need to pass the session, but they don't have a session. So let me ask to the, so yes, because it doesn't have a session. Let's see. So something like this. Do anonymous visitors have a session? Let's see. But it's for a particular user. By default, sessions are created for all visitors, including anonymous ones. When they first visit the application, this means that even if a user is not logged in, they can still have a session. Okay, so yeah, it makes sense to me. The session is often used to store temporary data, such as flash messages, which are displayed to the user on the next request. and then remove. Okay. Okay. So let's add something. For example, let's do it way simpler. So let's create a variable. So let's, I don't know, something like my message, something like this, hello world, and let's send the variable to the front end. So if I go to the register in here, I want to use this variable. So I'm going to modify this in a moment, like this. Okay, yes, let's see if it's okay. So yes, so for example, I'm going to modify this to so the out controller. It's going to be, no, I don't know, something like my hello world. Okay, so you can see that we are adding this element in the front end. So now let's do something in here in the register view. So I'm going to do something like if my message and if. Okay, so yes, it's working. So now so for example, if I delete this, let's delete. Let's see if it gives. Okay, yes, it's giving me an error. Okay, but the error is in here. So let's see. Okay, so it's not giving me an error in here. So now this is working. So I want to modify this to end, and like this, and then let's add again the message. So let's see if this works. Okay, so it's also working. So yeah, my bad. I thought that only the end, the end was the only closing tag that could be used, but no, we can also use end if, and I like that better. So I'm going to start working with these ending tags and to see when does they apply and when does they don't apply, to be more sure on how to use them. So I'm going to just delete that, and I'm going to delete it from here, so like this. We don't need it. And okay, I'm just going to move this to here. Okay, what else can we do? So this is roots, register, login, new password, and I just need to change the layout to from that reset password page. So it is now, I already changed the layout to all of these pages. So in here, I'm going to so if I sign in, okay, so I just want to change this icon to use the logo. Okay, so I'm going to commit all of these changes and change out views to use the guest layout. Commit, and I just want to see. Okay, perfect. So now I also can add the logo. Instead of using it in here, I can just send it to the to add it in here to avoid having to add it to all of the forms one by one, because we're adding the same logo, the same icon to all of these pages. Yes. So for example, if I go to create, sign in, forgot your password. Okay, so let's modify this. And okay, so the logo is in the app component and it's in the partials header. So let's open this file, header, and in here we should have the logo. So this is the logo. Okay, so I'm going to modify this to have it in as a component. So I'm going to add a component in here. Okay, so I'm going to create a component that is going to be called so I'm going to make a new file and it's going to be called logo.h. So I'm just going to copy what's in the, so if I go to the main page, I want to change it. I want to use this as the logo. So if I go to the, so where is it? App.h. So in here, if I go to, okay, sorry, header. If I'm just going to copy this. Okay, so I'm going to copy everything. This X, Control X, and if I save, well, now we are not going to have a logo in here. But if I go to logo and I paste it, and then in here I can do something like include components logo. So now it should re-add the logo. So unclose tag component. Okay, so sorry for that. In here you can see that I'm using just add component. Yes, and for example, when I added another component, where was it? Okay, the Google Analytics component, and it was added. It's being used in here. Include. I think I can add it as this, as that as well. So for example, in here, do something like include, or I can do something like component. Let's see if this works. Okay. So let's see what's going on in here. So what's the difference between this and component? Oh, okay, so that's partials. Okay, so sorry. So in here, it's not components. So where's the, okay, so it's in header. It's not components. I think it's just like this. So let's, okay, so what is happening in here? Component logo, component partials, header. So component logo. Okay, I think I know what's going on. So I think I can do something like, let's do it like this. Okay. I just want to make sure that this wasn't. Okay, so as you can see, there are different ways to add a component. So I can include components logo, or I can also do something like component something like this. So as you can see, it's adding me two times because I'm using this one or this one. Or I can also, I think there's another way to do it. I can do something like component and then close the component like this. So I'm now having it like 3 times. So interesting. I need to add it in another line. Okay. So there are several ways to add components. I still need to define which one is the one that I like. So for example, this one, it's useful when you want to add something inside a component. So for example, something like this. I don't think this is going to work in this component because I don't have a main slot. So for example, if I go to that component in here, maybe I can add something like if slot. So for example, something like this. I'm going to copy this and paste it in here. And this should work. So how can I add a slot in here? So there's a way to do it. Adding, okay, so add this to the default slot. Okay, so it's weird. Okay, so add the content inside the component tags in here. Let's see if this. So it's not understanding this. So I need to find an example to exemplify this, because you can add some information in here and you are going to be able to add it inside the component. I don't know. No. So I'm going to work on an example, but I'm going to. Okay, so when you use I add in here an exclamation mark before the component, this means that it's an auto closing component. If you don't add this, you need to add the end component tag. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like this, and this is going to have the logo just one time. So now if I go to, I'm going to delete this. So now I can change the logo in here, and it's going to change everything everywhere, and it's going to change it everywhere where I'm using the logo. So now if I go to for example, maybe this image, it's being used in other places. So logo and sidebar. Okay, so I'm going to remove this, and now we're going to use this component in each one of these pages, but maybe I can do it in a different way. So for example, what happens because if I add it in here, I will need to add it to all of these pages, and I don't want that. So I'm going to just change it in. So I'm going to remove this. So this is the register. So this is the register page. So if I go to register, that it's this one, I don't have the icon in here anymore. But if I go to guest and I add the component like this, we have the component in here. So let's work on this. So let's see. So this is going to be min age. I want to use min age full. Okay. And it's going to be flex column like this. So now I have the logo in here. So now I can add a link to the main home. So for example, if I go to, I'm going to copy this. Well, not this, just a href. So if I go to, I don't need this. To be honest, I don't need anything. I think I can remove all of this. So just let's verify in here. Yes, this is still looking like that. And if I may click, it's going to take me back to the home. So I can modify it. I can just add an anchor link in here. So it's going to be an anchor link. And we're going to add in here. Now, if I go in here and I make click in here, it's going to take me back to that home. Okay, but they are not going to have like any distraction in the web page that it's not creating your account. So, for example, they are not going to have the sidebar, the header, or the footer. So now I'm going to do these changes. So now if I go to create an account, we have the logo, but we also have this icon. So I'm just going to remove the icon from here. So it's this one, remove it, and then remove it, and then remove it. So now I have the same logo in all of the websites without needing to add it to all of these. In all the views without needing to add it to each of these views because it's part of the layout. Yes. So I just realized something. If someone clicks in for the password, they don't have a way to go back. So let's add that in here. So I'm going to go here or create an account. So I'm going to remove these. So if I go to in here, okay, so sign in, I'm going to remove these. Okay, and then if we go to forgot your password, so we set the password in here. So I'm going to also delete it from here. And I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to go add a link to go back to the create account or sign in. So I'm going to add it in here or create a new account. Or sign in, something like this. So it's not going to be or. I'm going to do something like create new account or assign it to your existing, something like this. Okay. So maybe, maybe these ones shouldn't be in here. Maybe I can add them after that button. So send resent. So this is the form. Maybe I can add them in here, something like this. Okay. So maybe, so I can do something like div. And I can copy this and I can add it in here to have them closer one to the other. Because in here we have a gap. So as you can see, this is a container. And oh, okay, so now there's no gap. So this is a space that it's being added. So I can remove those spaces like this. Oh, sorry. So, okay, so let's see. But why is, oh, okay, got it. Oh, got it. Some recent link. Okay. So instead of using space Y, I can use cap. Why is it not working? So let's do something like flex call. And yes, we have gap Y. But it's detecting that there's an element. That's strange. So there are different ways to work on this. So for example, I can add in here something like empty S6, and in here I can delete this, and we still have the space in here, but we don't have the so why is it that's crazy. So maybe the form has a margin. So let's see margin. Not crazy, it's weird. If I go to compute it, we can see that there's a margin here in the bottom. So where is it getting this margin? So this is the margin top. Yes, so it's adding this in here with this utility. So it's a space, oh, okay, so it's space Y8. So I was looking in the wrong place. I need to remove from here. So yes, we don't have the space in here. So I can use something like, I don't know, flex, call, flex. So it's flex call, gap Y instead of 8. We can do something like 2, and we have the space in here. So I like this better. Maybe I will move this further to the top. So for example, do something like in the guest, I can do something like I don't know, something like remove this, let's see. So do something like, I don't know, min age, something like it can be so it can be something like let's see, 50%. Let's see what happens if I add 100. Yes. So it can be something like, I don't know, I can play with this. Maybe it's not the best way to do it, but it works. So create your account, sign into your existing account, or forget your password. I like this better. And now we can go back using this thing. Okay. So I'm going to save these changes, and that is going to be all for this session. This was a shorter session than the previous ones, but I just wanted to work on this, show you how to work with Adonis, and compare it to Laravel. And in the next sessions, we're going to continue using to use Adonis, do like more things, more advanced things. But that is going to be everything for today. I'm just going to save to commit these changes. So it's change guest views, something like this. So let's commit them, sync the changes, and that's everything for this session. Thank you very much for being in here. Hope you like it, and I hope to see you in the next session. If you need help with anything related to web development, please let me know, send me a message, leave me a comment, or just get in touch. And I'm going to see you later.